Welcome to the Legally on the Move Festival of Entrepreneurs mini-series, recording live here from the Birmingham NEC. We are going to be diving into some of the sharpest minds across the UK, some of the top CEOs, some of the top cutting-edge businesses for an exciting, fast-paced series. So stay tuned, get excited, and looking forward to delivering even more from the show. Welcome to the Legally Speaking podcast, recording live here at Festival Entrepreneurs, and I'm joined by
Piers Linney, former Dragon and co-founder of Implement AI.
And we're also joined by
Destiny Robot. Follow on LinkedIn. She's our robotics associate. We've just been training her, actually. Just fell over, so we had to pick her back up. But this is a kind of the current state of the art instead of humanoids.
She is indeed. Very, very impressive. And Piers has been on the show before, so go and check out his full-length episode on the Legally Speaking podcast. But we're actually doing a panel session today on the impact of AI. And I know it's something you're very passionate about. What are most people getting wrong when it comes to implementing AI?
They're not implementing it.
They're talking about it, you're not doing it.
So the point here is you've got 3 years, really, to get your head around it and start implementing it. And it's not about getting rid of people. You know, in 20 years, who knows what we're all going to be doing. Yeah. Right now, it's about augmenting yourself, your team, the resources you've got, the finite resources you've got with AI to get more done. And really, it's about, we focus on our business, really, helping our customers grow revenue. So reactivating customers, looking after customers' capacity.
Yeah.
AI can do things that humans can't do. At a velocity and pace they can't do it. At times they can't, out of hours, for example, weekends. Yeah. And the last one's experience. It's really about how do you use AI to create better experiences for your customers, prospects. What we find, though, is that when you start using it and implementing it, all the lights go on. And then all of our customers and all their teams all say to us, amazing, I didn't know I could do that. Can we have more? So the first step is the most important step. Yeah. But it's going to transform the way you operate your business.
Yeah. And one thing you talk about very passionately is we're in the dial-up stage, phase. And so, again, for people who probably didn't follow the transition from dial-up to cloud and were kind of left behind.
You're trying to say I'm old? yeah, right.
What I'm trying to say is, how can people stay educated and informed to ensure that they get onto this wave? Because you talk a lot about the ship leaving the harbour. So to help those people, what do they need to be doing to ensure that they can get on the wave and actually still be productive?
So we call it the frontiers, right?
Yeah.
So you've got the PR frontier, all the noise. My mum, I see my mum, she's like, have a cup of tea. What's DeepSeek? I see my mum, I'm 85. So, you know, kind of ignore that to some extent. It's out there, it's interesting. But the next one in is a jagged technological frontier. And that's where you should take note of it.
Right.
That's where you look at like a Sora 2 video.
Yeah.
In Hollywood, you know, it's got a problem, right? Yeah. So if you're a copywriter, it's kind of doing what you're doing in some ways. If you're a plumber, it's a long way before Destiny here is going to be under a sink fixing a pipe. But that's going to happen. Yeah. So depending where you are, what you do, it's effectively, it's jagged.
Yeah.
Now, take note of that because that frontier will rapidly become what we call the operational frontier.
Yeah.
Where this works. It adds value, it's a meaningful, measurable ROI in your business, and it changes how you can operate. Yeah. So those things happen very, very quickly, and it's accelerating. So take note. And take baby steps. Yeah. Start small, but think big.
Yeah, okay. And you're a former lawyer yourself. If people are watching this, a lot of our audience obviously is legal people, what should they be thinking about in terms of careers and skills and staying abreast of what's going on?
Ooh. So I'm a qualified lawyer, right? I was a city lawyer. And we've got a couple of, several actually now, legal clients at Implement AI. And they're looking at it in different ways. So we're not focusing and really worrying too much about the regulated activity. It might be law, it might be healthcare, it might be financial services. But everything else around that, like any other business, whether it's prospects, marketing, complaints, compliance, whatever it might be, sales, you can use AI to augment your current team and your resources. So if you're a law firm, like any other organization, start thinking about what workflows and processes can we use AI in to automate and to improve it, make it better. And in time, you'll see that other, drafting, we work with Clio.
Yep.
So Clio, they can now start drafting things. Lots of these softwares are going to start doing that. And it's going to transform what lawyers do. Yeah. If you're, why is a law firm going to start to recruit, that's what you do, isn't it? Junior lawyers. Yeah. So you've got to start thinking about its pyramid of value, and it's going to be filled with tech. And you, the lawyers, have got to move to the top and add more value to your client. Because that's where you're going to win, not doing all the grunt work that I used to do.
And then to push you as a former Dragon, as someone who's very entrepreneurial, open-minded, what's a wild prediction you have in your head that you perhaps haven't vocalized before that's going to happen, or you think is going to happen?
Cognitive labor is going away within 10 years. And then 10 years after that, physical labor is going away. And what people don't get, you heard that before, right, is the internet is going away. Your AI will talk to other AIs. We won't be surfing the internet and searching for stuff. Yeah. So the way we communicate, e-commerce, is all going to fundamentally change.
Okay, and more of a sort of parental question, I guess. We know we're all in business, but the world is changing. If you're a parent of a sub-5-year-old right now, what should you be thinking about to ensure that they're going to be alive and awake to what's going on in the future?
Well, if you've got a 5-year-old, you'll probably find they're going to be alive for 200 years because they're going to solve aging. They're going to solve nuclear fusion. Probably, maybe not in my lifetime, sadly. Destiny's very impressed with that. So they're going to, in a world where we live longer, we're healthier, there's abundant energy. It's going to be a very different world. I don't think work will exist in the way it does today. So it's going to be a fundamental different society and economy. And what you've got to teach them really is I hear this a lot, right? It sounds obvious, but it's the soft skills. It's the how do you use technology to be better, whatever you happen to be good at. How do you augment it? There's no point fighting against it because, as I said at the start, this technology, AI, robotic embodied AI, is like dial-up internet. This is day one. It's the worst. I'm in AI. I say it's rubbish because it is. Because tomorrow is better. Next week is better. In a year's time, it'll be fundamentally better again. It's moving very, very quickly. So your kids have got to really start thinking about how they're going to live in a world where work actually isn't what defines you.
Yeah, very true. And finding purpose. Okay, Piers. Where can people go to find out more about Implement AI?
So you go to the Implement AI website, implementai.io. We do weekly webinars as well. A lot of content on there, white papers, demos, and also talk to Lexi. Website, click on services, and have a conversation with our AI agent and just experience firsthand the power and capability of them.
There we go. And also, if you use the hashtag Legally Speaking Implement, we will then make sure that we can introduce you to Piers and you'll get a good introductory offer. All right, Piers, thanks so much for joining us here on the Legally Speaking Podcast Live. We're about to go on stage. Over and out. Hello, I'm the proud host of the Legally Speaking Podcast, which is the #1 podcast for law in the UK. And we are sponsored by an organisation called Clio. We're a $3 billion legal tech unicorn business. And we've been taking the show around the world since 2019. I'm excited to be on this panel today where we're talking all things impact, AI with impact, how founders are using it to scale smarter. And we have a star-studded panel who are going to introduce themselves from left to right now. And then we're going to jump into today's discussion. So please introduce yourself.
Thanks, Robert. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is James Smith. I'm a tech entrepreneur and founder, and I'm currently CEO of a business called Critical Cloud. We're helping transform modern cloud operations for high-growth SaaS businesses.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Hello, everybody. My name is Dominic. I'm the co-founder of Clever Fox AI. We're an AI transformation agency based in sunny Brighton. We support businesses on their AI transformation journey, right through from initial consulting through to design, build, and implementation.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sabrina. I'm the founder of Choose Mafia. We build personal brands using and accelerated through AI growth. Former BBC One The Apprentice for any Lord Sugar fans in the audience. And specifically, how do you increase and amplify your brand online so that you can get accelerated across the competitions?
I'm Piers, former Dragons, doing a bit of TV. But the day job is I'm the co-founder and exec chairman of Implement AI, lead shoes. So we help companies implement AI. We build platforms. So we basically supply digital workers, sales for customer success, QCUs, and analytics, organization, all sectors, all sizes, from single revenue to a
Fantastic. So, as I said, very star-studded funnel joining you today. And there's a lot of hype around AI. So what I'm going to try and do as the moderator today is make this very practical and tactical so there's at least a few things you can go away and immediately implement into your businesses. So Piers, I'm going to come to you first. When founders talk about being AI first, what are the key design principles they should adopt from day one to actually stop being involved in the legacy models they're probably already using?
The three things really. One is if you're really starting from scratch, you should be really thinking about AI first. Now, what does that actually mean? So that doesn't mean creating some fully autonomous organization. We're not quite there yet. What we say is you've got to think about where is the technology today? Where is it reliable? Where can you create a meaningful, measurable ROI? What process and workflows can you actually automate in a way in which you know they're actually going to do what they're supposed to? So you can play in the kind of R&D space where to using tech that's not quite there yet, but it is potentially a huge ROI. We play in the box where in that jagged technological frontier, depending on what you do, where you are, you use technology that actually works. So if you're already got a business, start to automate it, but don't try and boil the ocean. Start small, think big. But I'm telling you now, you've got to start thinking about whether you are 1 million in revenue, up to 10 million in revenue, wherever you are, you've got to start thinking about how do you move towards AI per the competition, either the incumbents or the new entrants, the founders, they are going to be AI first. They're going to have 20-30% of people you've got in your business. So you cannot compete on margin. So that's the way the world's going. The question is, who will get there first?
Love it. Well, James, I'm going to come to you because you have scaled multiple tech ventures over the years. So how can SaaS companies specifically and digital agency integrate AI without disrupting their existing cloud operations?
So I think there's a couple of things to think about. The first thing is to look in the processes got going already. Typically, it's a similar approach to getting started with automation. So mapping out the processes and the workflows, as Piers said, is a great place to start. And as part of that, really understanding the data you've got and where that data sits and kind of looking at how you're processing that information and what's available to you. So that's the first thing. I think the piece of advice we just heard is don't trade your everything at once. So the next stage, once you've got those workflows mapped out and understand what data you need inside them, is to start small. Pick an area where it's quite low touch to get involved, maybe some reporting elements, maybe kind of some customer engagement activities, but something that's not too mission critical, while you kind of get used to kind of what we're trying to transform. And ultimately, it's something you can measure, right? Once you start to deploy some machine intelligence, some machine learning intervals. And then the third thing after that is thinking about how you can scale at it. So think big perspective, wave migration planning, so taking pilot after pilot, moving that into production one at a time. It's normally a good recipe.
It's habit. Once you start dipping your toe in and you're seeing traction, it becomes more of a habit, becomes more native, becomes more confident. All right, James, thanks for sitting there patiently, and Spring, come to you in a moment as well. Please, can you share with the audience here what AI governance is and why it's important and how business owners sat in the room can use it to enable safe and effective AI adoption?
So yeah, we're going to be hearing over the next couple of days about all the wonderful things that AI can do for our businesses, and I'll be sharing some of that in my presentation tomorrow. The reality is there are some risks, and as business owners, we need to address those, mitigate those, and make sure that we're not firefighting problems down the road. So a AI governance framework enables you as a business to do three things: to adopt AI safely, compliantly, and confidently. And you need all three, it's really important. So on the safety side, as business owners, we've all seen the news stories of data security breaches and your IP being leased by rogue AI or a member of your team using AI irresponsibly. So as part of a governance framework, we have some tools and resources and principles and data that prevent that from happening. So for example, we might have a AI model register, so everybody in your team knows which tools they can and can't use and in which way. You would also have an accountability matrix. So again, everybody in the organization knows who is responsible for which data flows in which tools. So that's the kind of safety side. On the compliance side, it's a bit of a grey area because we don't have a UK AI Act as yet. We were promised it by the Labour government in the spring. Funnily enough, they haven't got around to it. So they're promising that by I think May of 2026. But we can't sit around waiting for them to do something useful. We have to be proactive at the business age, right? So when we design our governance frameworks for our customers, we are aligning it with the ISO 42001 standards and also the EU AI Act. So when the UK legislation comes through, it will probably be somewhere in June 2. And so we need to get those frameworks in place. Now, the third part is crucial, and that's confidence. I hear this from business owners and define, we implemented a couple of AI tools, the team started using them, and then they get stuck, and then too embarrassed to ask how, all their boss to ask how to use it, so they quietly sottlers it. And then you, as a business, you're wasting the time and the money you spent on that implementation, and you're not getting the benefit, the productivity out of applications that we should do from this AI tools. So there is a training and upskilling part to elements. It's really important that you have a register of who has had which training and what that fellow's skill level is. Because if your team feel confident, then they can empower it. Naturally, you'll be getting full benefit from your AI transformation.
Yeah, no, couldn't agree more. And Phil's and Muller said for in terms of those habits, you've got the infrastructure, you've got things into place, you can feel more confident, take more action, more things can happen. Sabrina, something I'm passionate about, something you do super well, I want to move to now is mixing AI and personal branding, because you've developed what you call a personal brand operating system. So what does that actually look like in practice, again, for the founders in the room, and how can they use AI to scale their online presence without losing their personality?
I love this topic. Most mistakes that I certainly did myself at the very beginning was I went onto something like ChatGPT, I typed in exactly what I wanted at the output, and I got something that was half decent, and it was just noise. And right now, especially if you go onto LinkedIn, you'll see so much more. And when we look at using something, when using ChatGPT as a very simple example, is that we kind of start using it without any kind of training. And that's kind of bringing on a new employee into our team without giving them any background into the business or who we are. So we specifically brought out a personal brand OS operating system. So what this is a really intense document. He'll probably start doing tomorrow, and you start feeding it everything about yourself, your tone, your authenticity, what's your story, what kind of things do you like and what kind of things do you not like. Then you also get to the compliance side of things as well. And once you have this, you're able to start scaling. So when you start putting out content, it sounds exactly like you, but you're not putting out noise. The second level to this is creating one for your brand. So all of your brand guidelines, how would you embody it for you? And what we can start doing is integrating this into your team. So you can say, okay team, we're gonna put together the ultimate document, one for the brand and yourself for your personal brand, and they can start speaking to each other. So then when you start looking at agents, some more no-code AI tools, you're able to deploy this into organization without having to start back at the very beginning.
Love it. Very practical, tactical. Hopefully you have learned something in the first part of this panel session. If you have, write it down. Biggest tip I can give you for the day. Okay, now we're going to move to scaling smarter. So balancing speed and strategy. Piers, back to you. Lots of leaders ask about ROI. So how do you measure the value of digital workers in a way that forwards and investors actually buy into it?
Measuring the way you used to do it. So I'd say this, you've got three vectors in your business, okay? You've got velocity, variability, and value. If you're low to medium value, humans, they can do that pretty well, but they're close to high values. AI is good at low to medium, not being AI to sell a fighter jet, right? Velocity. Velocity is about data, volume. AI is very, very good at that. It's like a fighter pilot, so I can choose the targets. Humans can't do that as AI. And you've got kind of variability. If somebody's doing lots of different things, AI is not very good at that. It's very good at linear, clean, we call them, clean workflows. So if you're high velocity, data, low to medium value, low variability, automated AI. If you are high to medium high value, high variability, low velocity, human, right? For the coming year is, everything in the middle is a machine-driven partnerships. You're automating your sales and your human resource. And you measure ROI in two ways here. One is how to measure it today, how you increase the ROI. But also what we find in this is, give an example, right? We could do an example. You've got a company recruitment, construction recruitment. Their companies, 2,000 people in a database. They've got 4 people on the phone every day They can cover 5,000 a year, now it's 5. AI calls 3,500 people in 3 hours, has 650 conversations, and books 50 jobs. Their problem in their business now is not the flipping ROI on their pipeline, is how do they now, second order issue, how do they deal with that deal in their business? We're going to start thinking about what's the ROI as it is, but also we're going to have to re-engineer our business when we start implementing this 10-way. Another example, we have a very large national pharmacy chain using data. You've got a lot of data. If you start recording everything in your business, I hear everything. Hour, meeting, video calls, phone call, record everything. Now you rehearse it, you can analyze it. So we have national pharmacy, 30 million prescriptions a year. What AI can now do from the ROI is we'll known the dashboards. Your known unknown, things you go and look for in your data. Your unknown unknowns, things you don't know you need to know. We said to an AI looking into their data, and it's bound, if they pick 83 different conditions, take out one, which is contraception, you can get a blood pressure test, contact those people, book them in the pharmacy, then they go back in to get their prescription. We know when they're going to go back in, it carries a lens it. That's a £400 million business, and they found a £4 million revenue opportunity with a 75 grand cost. That's it. That ROI is off the chart. Don't always think about the current ROI, think about what is the art possible if you implement this.
Love it, and thank you again for giving me such clear, crystal examples. And it just shows the possibility of what actually, if you take that approach with an open mindset and take action on, what can actually achieve your business. Okay, James, coming back to you. Critical Cow blends AI tooling with human-in-the-loop engineering. So how do you see the balance between AI automation and human expertise evolving?
Yeah, I think the key point there is human in the loop. So that's crucial. That's the center of the way we think about AI, and that really means AI enhancement, not human replacement, ultimately. So we're taking really smart, capable, deep domain expertise and using AI to really enhance the capabilities and the efficiency. So let me bring that to life a little bit. One use case, for example, in our world is we're taking millions of logs and millions of data points from different cloud systems, bringing those into our tooling that allows our engineers to spot trends and patterns super quickly. That's not possible for a human to do across a data set of that nature. But what AI is not very good at is the reasoning and judgment about what it does with those decisions after it's kind of identified the patterns and the trends. And so we need a human in the loop at that point to look at the output from that information and then kind of make an educated, context-aware decision around that. So that's one example. Second one is taking that deep domain expertise with fine-training models, with lots of documentation, history and context around how they can make decisions based on response to failure, as an example, right? But we don't want to let those agents go away and just make those decisions without having safety net around it. So again, when an agent makes a decision that it wants to take something, there's a human in the loop that will sense-check that decision. So we're using the humans in that instance to kind of add the safety net at the moment, but also to keep adding additional context onto the capability, so that as we kind of move forward in this AI journey, I think reasoning and judgment is something that's definitely in our future with AI. For us, it's about kind of supercharging humans and not replacing them.
Yeah, no, again, hopefully some examples all of us can relate to, and again, go away and live to take action off the back of today's panel. Dominic, coming to you, could you give me maybe one or two examples of custom AI automation or systems that Clever Fox AI has actually built that entrepreneurs with limited AI knowledge can easily understand?
Actually, Piers has already alluded to one of the use cases, so I'll give you a similar use case in a different sector. What we want AI to do ultimately is a few things. We want it to help us monetize our form of data. We want it to free up our teams from doing the tasks they hate. And we want to be able to automate the custom tasks, right? So the AI voice agents are really powerful for this. So we're selling these into the estate agency market. Every estate agency has a team of people relentlessly calling their database customers to see if they're planning to move house. They've got a load of listings they need to sell or rent. It's every estate agent's least favorite job. They normally get the junior bucks guys to do it. They end up resigning because this and this is a job. Why? Because 99% of those calls are no, throw away, never away, why calling me. But every now and then, every 500 calls, someone says, yes, I'm the man. Or so, to give you an example, we've got a customer with 7 branches. They've got 40,000 people in their database, and they've got 3 full-time employees, so $8,000 a month payroll, and they're just hammering this list. Now, I dare say we can only do $80 a day or whatever that is. We can now run an AI voice agent to do 1,000 things a day or whatever is number you want. It doesn't get upset when people say where to go. And then when that 500 customer should say, yes, I am interested in it, told me that a voice agent was able to have a proper conversation and connect that call to the relevant person. So it's freeing up the team. Actually, it would generate viewings that the human team could go and do. That's the in-person stuff that we should be doing. Person receiving the call doesn't care if it's an AI or a person. It's just no, go away. Well, I don't care who called me. And the estate agency, truthfully, in their melds with data, there's a few nuggets bold in there. And typically with a human special lawyer and access that mountain data, you can only unearth so much. The AI can go through, like the one that's it, power-based, through that mountain data and extract every last bit of bulk. And that's really decisive. Have a look at another one?
Absolutely, please.
So another really powerful thing that we do a lot of is automating legacy workflows. Most businesses have run their business in the same way for the last 25 years, been in the SaaS era. And so I'll give you an example in the veterinary sector. If you take your job and cat, the vet, who's coming next? What is it in operation? Is it in vaccination? That's manual processing of data, which is very inefficient. So of course now at a click of a button, the AI will produce a 2-paragraph relevant summary, saving the vet the scoring to 10 years of temporal history. Then at the end of the consultation, your vet sits at the computer, tries to remember what was said, types in manually, this is what happened, blah, blah, blah. Again, now we run an audio forwarding through that consultation. You capture all of the data, not just what the vet can remember. That is unstructured data, transcript. We then take that unstructured data, the AI tells it is structured data, is the relevant fields, which you can then search across. By the time you get back to the car with your cat or dog, you've got an email, thanks. Hi, Mr. Doss, great to see you today. Automated email. Betsy's had this vaccination, see you in 6 months' time. So the patient gets better care because we captured being in the data. The vet saves about 2 hours of boring admin a day. And the vet group is saving, in this case, they've got 200 vets across 4 locations, 2 hours a day per vet. That's £1.7 million with salary time saved.
What I love about this, we'll all see headlines, data is a new gold, but these are practical examples of how this data is transforming businesses, and it's really exciting. We can get our heads around this. So again, if you do have questions, we're hopefully going to be allowing a few at the end. Please do get them ready and we'll try and come to you. Now, Sabrina, coming to you. Many founders fear AI will make them feel less human. We talked about human in the loop, and Piers is talking about fabric human. How do you advise leaders to keep authenticity when scaling?
When you're looking to build your brand as a founder and you use AI to accelerate that process, you're ultimately expanding your team. So providing that you create your personal brand operating system, you're already showing your story, your values, your tonality, and what you stand for. And then you're creating the values and you're scaling this out. My prediction is that within 2 to 3 years, every single one of us will have a digital AI twin. And the only question here is not if we have one, it's whether it sounds like you and actually represents you. Because there's so much noise right now on the internet and there's so much content, hopefully you're putting out a little bit of content too. It's either going to create an AI version for what's already out there, or you're able to create what's there. So imagine that everyone's going to voice now. So when you have an idea, something happened, it's maybe you had an interesting call for the team member, or you feel super motivated on a Tuesday morning. You voice note this, then my team take that voice note, we put it through something that's transferred by an AI, and there's a ton of automations, and we have an AI agent. He's able to take that content, duplicate it in the way that I want to be shared, based on everything that I've previously done over my last 1,000 posts, so that it sounds exactly like me. So going into AI, I feel if we're scared around authenticity, then we're actually fearing AI, and it's the fear that's stopping us behind. So AI is not here to replace us as a personal brand. It's here to accelerate the values, providing that we give it the values of the story that we like to. And that's the biggest mistake, I think. I also think anyone in the next 6 months, like this is all 6-month window, you have 6 months to go across, because all the current creators and founders who are already building their brands will just accelerate with AI, because they'll be able to leverage what's already there. So without stepping in now, you're going to go not only massively in competition with the big names already, but you'll also be attention competition with the AI set coming up for creating online brands. So if you have anything to take away from today, I do talk about this in my keynote, it's how do you use the next 6 months to double down, create those online versions of yourself, leverage so that you're so far behind otherwise in 6 months that it will be really, really hard to catch up.
Yeah, no, really well said. We've given some great examples. So we're going to move into the third part of the final part of the panel. Just to recap, we started with from fight to impact, making AI practical. Then we moved into scaling smarter. I think I have tons of examples across the panel there, balancing speed with strategy. We're now going to talk about future-proof growth with AI. If you did learn some nuggets from the last piece, write them down now, go and take action on them. Piers, so if you had to redesign workflows in a very heavy, slow-moving industry, you and I have law, finance, healthcare, where would you start to unlock AI's value the quickest?
For everyone, I think in law, for example, everyone's fixated on the regulated activity, financial services, diagnosis, law, everybody. We can't ignore that. That's some extent. We've lots of companies trying to do that, raising billions of pounds. But every organisation has a very similar work agendas. It might be sales, marketing, it might be HR, support, it might be customer success, in law it might be compliance, onboarding. It's kind of its point was made actually. Look at the workflows on my bottom left bottom, my 2x2 meters, yeah. The tech works at a decent ROI. And the key is this, is look at a pyramid like that, right? And it's being filled. This is the first industrial revolution with technology. And then the tools. Now the tools, the intelligence can use the tools and it's putting that pyramid. So we, collectively, as individuals and as businesses, have got to move to the top and add more value using technology, not fighting it. If there's a battle, you are going to lose. And the point was made about that all the time Davis, anyone else saying, it can't do this, it won't do that, it's human to do with. I'm telling you, in 5 years, it's better than us, better, cheaper, faster, smarter than us at every cognitive task. The only question is, how do you implement it, do yourself up and your colleagues and the team add real values, not deliver stuff.
Love that. And I also feel about like collaborating with technology, collaboration, domination. You give a great example there of actually how you could do that on the impact of the video, and probably get in touch with you with influencer.
I don't know, here, got a robot. So then another 10 years after that, they'll be caring to parents, right? So the embodied AI, they're coming away. So poverty, labour will go away, and eventually physical. Professor viewing, in that world, how do you carve out the values?
Something to definitely go away and think about, folks. Okay, James, coming back to you on the end there. With a background in cloud and security, what do founders need to know about keeping AI adoption safe, compliant, and sustained?
That's a good question. So I think there's a couple of things to think about, but it all boils down to one thing, in my opinion, right now, and that's visibility, getting observability and across what's going on. So what are these tools doing? We talk about kind of only using an LLM model. There's things about tokens, how many tokens are being processed, governs how much these things are going to cost. So getting visibility of the cost, getting visibility of where your data is, not so much about where it's located, but where it's actually being processed. You hear a lot about kind of security and compliance, and one of the things that sort of catches people out is you're feeding kind of information into some of these tools, whether it be a chatbot, whether it be ChatGPT through the browser. That information is going off somewhere to be processed, and it may not be in the region or location you quite expect it to be. So understanding really where that data is going, flowing is very important, and that allows you to put the governance in. So I think it's that right now. I think if there's one thing you're going to invest in, it's getting insight and visibility across the systems that you're using, the systems that you've built, and getting a bit more understanding of kind of what they're doing and how they're doing it.
Yeah, no, thank you for sharing that. Dominic, coming back to you, talked a lot about efficiency. So beyond that, where do you see AI creating entirely new business models or revenue streams specifically for SME businesses?
Sure, good question. There's a couple of things that we're particularly excited about the level bots. Firstly, it's the plummeting cost of producing proof of concept MVP. So there's the new vibe coding or vibe coding platform called like Repbit or Lovable, which enable you to very cheaply and very quickly create identity proof of concept or a new product or service. So imagine it in the pre-AI era, if one of your team came to you with a new revenue stream idea, and you looked at that, we thought, well, that's not our core business, or take us 6 months and a couple of hundred brands to create for the concept, you probably wouldn't necessarily go ahead. Now you create that proof of concept in a week or 400 weeks. So guess what? You're going to try it out. So what we should see is a wave of innovation within businesses in the UK, trying these different things, rolling out as you say sale, I sell, I quit, no big deal. That for me is profound, really, really exciting. The other one, I guess, is, and I touched on it already, is the monetizing all the data. I think this hasn't really started before yet. Businesses are sitting on the gold mine. And in order to do that, you have to do this data centralization big stuff. So most businesses got all of their data scattered across these silos and all the different SaaS softwares, the Google guide there and one guide over there. None of it talks to each other, right? So again, what we do is collate all of those distant sources of data, create that data warehouse, or single source of truth. Then you interrogate that data from AI. You can ask questions about it. You can make money for it. You can create insight that you can use in your marketing and so on. That's the bottom line that everybody's sitting on. I was waiting to speak on it.
Yeah, no, and again, thanks for sharing with us and the growth mindset and the opportunities with this if we choose to embrace. And talking of sort of shifts and things moving, it's great. Coming to you because we're moving away from Google search to AI search. So how can founders future-proof their brand to be visible and discoverable in this new era of AI search rankings?
Can you pick your hand up if you typed into any kind of AI, like your company name? Tell me about Sabrina Stopper, tell me about your company. Out of curiosity. Amazing. Usually I set homework, which is to Google yourself once a month, but now it's also to find out what AI is saying. Now, does anyone actually know how AI works and how it gives the answer? And it's really interesting. It's called vector science. So if you imagine that you're on a vector and you have different kind of keywords. So let's say be known as a speaker. And we're on a panel here, and maybe you have Piers, you have James, you have Dom, you have Sabrina, and there's like their names. We have our generic names. Then we have AI. Then we have speaker. Then we have maybe UK speaker. How do you get your name to be associated and similar on a vector compared to who you want to be associated with? And this isn't just for personal brands, it's also with businesses. So if I type, for example, who was the best doctor surgery to go with, or who's the best Manchester creative agency to work with, who's currently turning up? So that's going to give you your base level, and potentially nothing turns up with the actual words that you want to search with. The second stage is how do you distribute content which is already putting you in the position of what's ever already ranking there. So does anyone want to become a speaker? Does anyone in a couple of years, or maybe even now, want to be on the panel right now? So a really fun trick is you could take a photo of all of us five sitting here, and you could say onto LinkedIn, Craig wants to be on the panel. Craig's going to say, today I went to the Festival of Entrepreneurs in Birmingham, and I was so fascinated about how I was going to implement AI into the business. And watching Piers Linney, who's a great AI talker in the UK, I then was able to really learn X, Y, and Z. Now, what you've been able to do is you've created a piece of content that's put you in a vector with not only a Festival of Enterprise, but also with Piers. And being able to do this consistently, it starts bringing you closer to those vectors. So a really good thing to implement today is, number one, search yourself on a regular basis. Number two, search what you want someone else to be searching for. So maybe that could be, what's the best dentist surgery in my local area? And give the local area. Who are the best speakers on this particular topic? And what's currently coming up, then creating content around the vectors that are already banking, and then distributing this consistently. And it's a very, very simple way to do this. A more advanced way is on your website. You can make a quick note of this. You can add a .bot and a .txt file onto your WordPress. And this is a hidden file that's being picked up by all of the different bots. So you're able to take this information and then it's going to start ranking and be scraped by the AIs. So now you're not just creating human content, but you're also creating content for the AIs to pick up. And every single time there's a regeneration, it's now placing you in the position that you want to be placed with. And if you can do this now, rather than in 6 months' time where this becomes general practice, we'll be so far ahead of the game that the AI will pick you up because you're the trusted authority and you're the person who's being outranked consistently in the media. Because it's not just about noise, it's about the authenticity, the confidence, and the language that you're using that's putting you ahead of those experts.
Love it. Super practical, super tactical, and yeah, it's a fascinating parallel. I think I'm going to try and squeeze in a question or two from the audience if we have time. I think we do. Okay, yes.
Amazing. Great question. Just to repeat the question, does videos count in terms of putting a brand out there? And 100%, especially on YouTube because it's built with Google. When you're speaking on podcasts or you want to create content, you could say, hi, my name's Sabrina and I run Truecomma PR. Now that's kind of boring and no one really cares. But if I say, my name's Sabrina and I help personal brands build and accelerate their brand with AI, and we're the current leading personal brand OS system in the UK, now AI is going to constantly pick this up. And if someone says, how do I build and scale my brand? It's going to go back to that video. So if you can consistently share the same niche, and the niche is really important here, then you're going to be the one person to go to. And that's why any company who's putting out content niche specific will be massively ahead of the game.
Love that. I remember being told very early, specific is terrific. The more you can laser into your audience, the more impact you can be. Okay, might have time for one more question. I have a quick hand up. Okay, quick, go.
Yeah, just with Sabrina again. So I'm building a business. But do you think that it's really important to have a personal brand as well as the both happening at the same time?
Amazing. Is it important to have a personal brand along with your business? Hands up if you have a business. I'm hoping everyone that's hands up. I think should be there. Does anyone keep your hand up if you have a personal brand? If I came up here and I put my logo saying Truecomma PR, there'd probably be no one here. But because I'm here and I've been featured in Forbes, I've been on The Apprentice, I've been on £1 Million Company, you actually care. And then if you see the authority side of things, then I'm visible offline and I'm getting hundreds of thousands of views a month. And then I've got the story, which is exactly how I got here. Then you actually buy into me. Now we don't buy into brands, we buy into evil. And the more we can become people first, I think that's when you'll have massive growth acceleration.
Great questions. And I'll just end by saying, I don't believe we're in this B2B, B2C world anymore. It's very much this age-to-age, human-to-human connection, even more in the age of AI. And I thoroughly enjoy hosting this panel. So I'd just like to say a huge thanks to James, Dominic, Sabrina, Piers. Please share some of your learnings with your communities and what you've learned today. Use the hashtag Festival Entrepreneurs, tag the speakers you've seen here today. The likelihood is they will repost it, they will reshare it. You'll hijack their audience, build into your personal brand and audience as well. But for me, it's been an absolute pleasure hosting you. I look forward to seeing you around the Festival of Entrepreneurs over the next couple of days. Thank you very much.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode. If you like the content here, why not check out our world-leading content and collaboration hub, the Legally Speaking Club, over on Discord. Go to our website, www.legallyspeakingpodcast.com, for the link to join our community there. Over and out.